Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's legal team have been in contact with the Daily Mail after it republished allegations made in Andrew Lowney's new book entitled
Meghan must answer for her behaviour. She has sent emails and made calls. Relentlessly, she misrepresented me, Catherine, and William to Harry, and in doing so, she drove a wedge through this family. That is the plain truth, and she knows it.
February 19th, 2026. The Crown hit back hard this morning. Buckingham Palace broke its silence with a statement so sharp it sliced through global headlines. It declared that no member of the British royal family, past or present, shall be used for commercial gain without direct consent from the sovereign. Any marriage contract that tries to turn the monarchy into a money-making machine will be reviewed, challenged, and publicly shut down. But beneath that polished royal language hid something far more personal and way more explosive. It's now confirmed that Princess Anne and Lady Louise Windsor secretly launched a deep dive investigation into Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage contract. Their main focus? A mysterious and controversial section insiders whisper about. Page 14, Clause 7. So, what's the big secret in it? According to trusted sources granted access under Royal Emergency Privilege, Clause 7 hands Meghan Markle full intellectual property control over Prince Harry's entire life story. From books to interviews, documentaries to dramas, Harry can't speak publicly about his own life without Meghan's written approval. And here's the real bombshell. He signed it without any legal counsel. Earlier this month, Princess Anne reportedly laid all the findings before King Charles and Prince William during a tense private meeting at Clarence House. Her tone? Calm, but absolutely crushing.
What we hope was a general interest to you, but also your response to that, which is equally important. And those sort of observations are critical to me. I mean, I'm grateful because you've come together as a group. Interestingly, if you like, I'm not here because this was my choice. You very kindly asked me to become patron of your organizations.
She allegedly told them, "This isn't a marriage agreement, it's an architecture of control." She doesn't just own the house, Anne warned. She owns his past and his silence. Lady Louise Windsor, now quietly becoming a key player inside the royal circle, added her own striking view. She said Meghan's empire was never about selling products. It was built on Harry's legacy, his pain, his royalty, his memories. And what really turned this revelation into royal dynamite was Meghan's own past, especially her 2013 divorce from Hollywood producer Trevor Engelson. Meghan came in swinging. She hired one of the fiercest legal teams in Hollywood, cut every financial tie clean, and walked out untouched. Court insiders described her style as precise, unsentimental, surgical. But this time, with Prince Harry, the stakes were sky high, and it looked like history was repeating itself. According to palace legal sources, Meghan quietly reactivated Sunshine Sachs, a powerhouse PR firm famous for managing messy celebrity breakups and turning chaos into control. This is the same team that helped Katie Holmes make her silent escape from Tom Cruise, and guided Angelina Jolie in dominating the public story after her split from Brad Pitt. Sunshine Sachs isn't just a PR firm. Insiders call them exit engineers, experts in crafting how a breakup feels to the public. They don't just win the case, they win the narrative. Princess Anne reportedly didn't sugarcoat it when she briefed the palace. "This isn't reputation management," she said. "This is premeditated narrative warfare." And then came the chilling twist. Lady Louise Windsor reportedly shared the most disturbing claim yet, that some of Harry's most intimate footage, filmed for Netflix, might not have been for his voice at all, but to build a legal defense. That shockwave sent royal investigators straight back to the Sussexes' 2021 Netflix deal, especially a suspicious clause titled Couple Alignment and Public Harmony. That clause, sources say, gives Meghan and Harry's team the power to reframe any marital breakdown in soft, pre-approved ways, through phrases like incompatible values or emotional instability. Basically, it allows their split to be rewritten like a movie script that mirrors Harry's old tabloid image. "This isn't just controlling the message," said Lady Louise. "This is turning his life into a legal commodity." Now that Clause 7 has blown wide open, the Crown's no longer sitting quietly. They're moving fast to contain the fallout. A confidential memo from the Royal Legal Advisory Board warns that if Harry tries to file for divorce, he could lose his Montecito mansion if it's ruled shared marital property. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the game has officially turned ruthless. The internal memo spelled it out cold and clear. Prince Harry could lose everything. First on the list, the Archewell stake, legally structured under Meghan's full control. Then came the real gut punch. No real custodial leverage over Archie or Lilibet because of his long-term absence from their U.S. residence. Add to that a total publishing ban on anything tied to his royal past, and possible severance from Windsor inheritance trusts if Meghan keeps her title links intact. And the cruelest twist? Because of Clause 7, Harry might not even be allowed to defend himself. Not in public, and maybe not even in court. While the world was distracted by glossy photo ops, charity galas, and those carefully staged podcast launches, Princess Anne and Lady Louise were playing a much deeper game. They'd been quietly tracing Meghan's financial trails, following every subtle maneuver she made from 2022 onward. And what they uncovered sparked whispers of a full-blown constitutional reckoning. As everyone kept watching Netflix docuseries and feel-good interviews, Anne and Louise were mapping out something hidden behind all the sparkle. A financial separation that looked less like independence and more like preparation for war. Lady Louise's audit, submitted to the Privy Council in late January 2026, laid everything bare. It showed Meghan had shifted her entire financial and brand identity, moving from Duchess to solo CEO. By the end of 2022, she'd completely pulled her name, revenue, and brand control out of anything linked to Harry. One of the biggest finds? American Riviera. Orchard, Meghan's lifestyle brand launched in April 2023, was owned outright through a Delaware-based LLC. Harry's name completely missing from the filings. Trademark documents filed in the US, UAE, and Singapore showed zero co-ownership, no royal symbols, and no shared authorship. She was building an empire with her name only, and the palace couldn't ignore it. Then came A Lemon, the podcast deal signed in September 2023, where Meghan was listed as the sole creative producer and IP holder. Harry wasn't even a collaborator on paper. Even more shocking, the restructuring of Archewell in July 2023 quietly cut him out of direct access to financial accounts and rerouted all approvals through Meghan's personal legal team.
Very different situation for all of us. And, Archie was so little, and I had just gotten pregnant with Lily around that same time. So we were nesting and healing. And also, I don't even know I had the bandwidth at that time to think about what the big picture dream was. There was no plan.
By December 2023, Princess Anne reportedly said grimly that Harry had become a silent figure in a brand built entirely on his image, and he didn't even realize it. What started as a royal love story now looked like a corporate takeover. And inside Buckingham Palace, the whispers turned into alarm bells. The biggest red flag of all came from deep inside the couple's 2020 Netflix contract, a buried clause that changed everything. Hidden under Clause 11C, narrative rights transfer upon dissolution, it quietly stated that if the marriage ever ended, all jointly produced narrative material would be reviewed by the lead content manager. And guess who that was? Meghan Markle. The fine print made it brutal. Prince Harry waives all retrospective editorial rights unless Meghan gives written permission. In plain language, if they ever split, she decides what parts of their story stay alive and what gets erased. Lady Louise Windsor reportedly pieced together a detailed timeline that stunned even senior advisors. January 2022, Meghan forms Sapphire Crescent Holdings, a shell company later connected to luxury licensing deals overseas. March 2022, Archewell's payroll quietly gets restructured by Meghan's family attorney, and Harry's name mysteriously vanishes from HR files. June 2022, Meghan ditches the joint PR setup and signs with a separate agency for her solo events. Press releases suddenly start calling her Miss Markle. October 2022, trademark filings for the TIG relaunch hit the system. Meghan listed as the sole applicant. February 2023, she purchases over $4 million worth of jewelry and inventory, labeled Founder Assets, under her American Riviera Orchard brand. August 2023, Meghan's media team pitches a bold Vanity Fair cover titled The Post-Royal Renaissance, a piece spotlighting her independent rebirth. No mention of Harry anywhere. As Lady Louise told the Privy Council, this wasn't a spontaneous rupture. It was an exit plan executed with surgical precision. Even more shocking, Meghan's team managed to sidestep California's strict community property laws that usually split marital assets right down the middle. Her lawyers had inserted front-load clauses that reclassified every brand asset under her LLCs as pre-joint revenue. That means anything she built, from trademarks to copyrights, was registered as her own before any shared profits kicked in. Every email, every contract, every communication was routed through separate legal addresses, completely isolated from their joint Sussex domains. It wasn't just smart lawyering, it was preemptive armor. By the time Harry realized what was happening, Meghan had already locked down her empire and the narrative that came with it. Princess Anne later described it as the business version of a controlled detonation. It wasn't just a legal maneuver, it was warfare disguised as etiquette. Every polished smile, every glossy PR clip, every photo op hit a ticking legal time bomb waiting to go off. Then, on January 12, 2026, Buckingham Palace quietly issued a sealed legal advisory to Prince Harry, and the warning couldn't have been more blunt. It read, "Your current marital agreement places your financial assets, narrative rights, and potential guardianship claims at serious risk. Immediate legal review and restructuring are strongly advised before any public separation." Behind those formal words was panic. The Royal Treasury's preliminary audit, now under final review, laid bare just how fragile Harry's position had become. He owned no part of Archewell's remaining media library or digital assets. He was legally blocked from releasing any new memoirs, interviews, or documentaries unless Meghan's legal team gave written approval. Even worse, the Montecito mansion, which many thought Harry personally financed, was actually funded through joint loans, meaning it could be labeled marital property and up for division if things turned sour. When it came to their children, the situation was equally grim. Because of his long absences from California and Meghan's established U.S. residency, his custodial leverage over Archie and Lilibet was paper thin. Lady Louise Windsor didn't hold back when she summed it up. He'd be left with his title and his trauma, nothing more. What started as a quiet review of one suspicious clause had now exposed something far deeper, a total collapse of Harry's personal, financial, and narrative control. By mid-February 2026, one phrase was being whispered through royal corridors, debated in law chambers, and splashed across international headlines. Page 14, Clause 7. Originally dismissed as dull legal filler from the couple's 2018 prenup, the clause's real meaning stayed hidden until Lady Louise Windsor dug deeper during a forensic audit of Meghan and Harry's amended marital records. When she cross-referenced the clause with California intellectual property law, the puzzle finally clicked into place, and the results sent shockwaves through the monarchy. It was no longer about love or loyalty. This was a legal chess match at the highest level, and every move was premeditated. What Lady Louise Windsor uncovered left even senior royal lawyers speechless. Clause 7, the heart of the storm, handed Meghan Markle full intellectual property rights over every piece of narrative tied to Prince Harry's life. That meant everything. Memoirs, interviews, letters, documentaries, children's books, and even fictionalized stories inspired by his royal past. All of it legally fell under her control. In simple terms, Prince Harry couldn't speak, write, or even license his own story without Meghan's written approval. Lady Louise didn't mince words when she briefed the Crown's legal board. Clause 7 isn't protection. It's a muzzle, signed and sealed in law. But what made jaws truly drop was when this clause appeared. June 2020, just months after Harry and Meghan had stepped back from royal duties and launched Archewell. It came during one of Harry's lowest emotional points, grieving, isolated, and struggling with his public image. And in that fragile moment, Meghan secured one of the most sweeping editorial powers ever written into a royal-adjacent marriage contract. The clause's language was cold and surgical, stripped of emotion, but packed with power. It read, "All present and future narrative content, public persona, depictions, and emotional recollections related to the signatory, H.R.H. Prince Henry Charles Albert David, shall require prior approval by Party A, Miss Markle, before publication or broadcast. Louise's audit team went even further. They uncovered the inner skeleton of the deal. While Archewell had been publicly branded as a 50-50 partnership, internal filings in Delaware revealed a very different story. Meghan held voting control over all content decisions, brand partnerships, and distribution rights. Even more chilling, in the event of marital conflict, full default control automatically transferred to the managing member, Meghan Markle herself. When Princess Anne was privately briefed, her response was cutting and fierce. "This isn't a marriage," she said. "It's a licensing agreement." The fallout was instant and brutal. It turned out that Harry's 2023 memoir, Spare, the same book that shook the monarchy, had actually passed through Meghan's legal approval process before publication. According to insiders, several of its most emotional chapters were either reworded or softened by her legal advisors before going to print. Behind every heartfelt confession and every tearful line, there now lingered a haunting question. How much of Harry's story was truly his own? Those emotional chapters in Spare? Many had been revised or deleted after internal narrative cohesion reviews conducted by Meghan's own legal and media team. And if Harry ever wanted to write a sequel or a follow-up memoir, he simply couldn't. Not without Meghan's signature on paper. Palace aides started whispering that Harry had become a hostage to his own memories. Legal analysts soon confirmed the nightmare was even worse than anyone thought. Clause 7 didn't just cover present-day materials, it extended to future portrayals too. That meant Harry couldn't appear in documentaries about his military service, couldn't host or guest on trauma-related podcasts, and couldn't even co-author children's stories inspired by royal life. Not without Meghan's legal clearance first, the revelation stunned international media. A BBC legal commentator called it the most sweeping narrative capture clause ever documented in any celebrity or aristocratic marriage. In their words, Meghan effectively holds his past, and every profitable version of it, in escrow. Even Netflix insiders were reportedly blindsided. Leaked internal emails from the Sussexes' own production partners revealed mounting confusion about the legal restrictions surrounding Harry's role. One frustrated executive allegedly wrote, "He's the story, and yet he's not allowed to tell it." Then came another shocking find. The Royal Intelligence Office, RIO, unearthed an overlooked clause buried inside the couple's 2020 Netflix deal. Clause 11, TN, narrative rights transfer upon dissolution. It officially confirmed that in the event of a separation, Meghan alone retained full post-split editorial authority over all Archewell-produced content. And it didn't stop there. The clause went far beyond what anyone expected. It covered joint interviews, private behind-the-scenes footage, home videos, unreleased family content, and even home documentaries that included their children. For Buckingham Palace, this was the breaking point. What started as whispers of manipulation had escalated into a constitutional and narrative crisis. Lady Louise Windsor, briefing the Sovereign Media Council in late February, didn't hold back. Her words were sharp and unforgettable. "We're not just facing a narrative threat," she declared. "We're facing an engineered takeover of identity itself." By then, the monarchy understood the stakes. This wasn't just about image or influence anymore. It was about control of history, of legacy, of who gets to tell the royal story and who's legally silenced from ever speaking again. What unfolded next was nothing short of a commercial weaponization of royal history. Meghan's contracts had turned Harry's life, his legacy, his trauma, his name, into a monetized battlefield. Buckingham Palace moved fast. By February 12th, King Charles personally ordered every royal collaboration involving Harry to be frozen. No new projects, no appearances, no charitable partnerships, nothing that could ignite another narrative dispute under Clause 7. A full embargo was issued on any third-party content featuring Harry without direct palace authorization. But behind the royal walls, the human toll was devastating. Sources close to Clarence House revealed that Harry privately demanded to review every document he'd signed since 2020. When the papers were laid out before him, one royal secretary described his reaction as completely hollowed out. That was the moment the heartbreaking truth sank in. Prince Harry no longer owned his own voice. As the shockwaves from Clause 7 rippled through legal boards and royal advisors, his Montecito home, once a glowing symbol of Sussex independence, became the epicenter of both financial collapse and emotional ruin. The warning signs turned visible on February 13th, when foreclosure notices were officially filed in Santa Barbara County. At the core of the chaos sat a staggering $9.4 million bridge loan, issued through a Delaware-based shell company reportedly tied to foreign financial syndicates. The loan's terms were brutal: a 14.25% interest rate, a 9-month term, and 0 grace period. When the January 31st payment was missed, the default kicked in instantly. Behind the scenes, Meghan allegedly tried to salvage the situation by reaching out to a boutique Manhattan lender for emergency refinancing. But the deal collapsed almost immediately after the firm's auditors reviewed Archewell's books. And what they found raised eyebrows everywhere. Financial records showed major irregularities in charitable expense claims, especially in categories labeled awareness campaigns that quietly mixed PR, luxury travel, and private security costs. The discovery tanked investor confidence overnight. Within 24 hours, all pending funding commitments were withdrawn. That same day, Archewell's podcast division was quietly shut down. The lights literally turned off in its Santa Barbara office. And just hours later, a Netflix insider leaked an internal memo confirming that the couple's planned follow-up docuseries had been officially canceled due to reputational drag and underperformance. The empire that once promised freedom and global influence was now unraveling fast. And inside Montecito, what remained wasn't a media powerhouse or a royal brand. It was silence, tension, and the haunting echo of contracts that had finally come due. Their once mighty $40 million content empire vanished overnight, wiped out by 2 brutal sentences: brand underperformance and legal volatility exposure. Just like that, the Sussex media pipeline was gone, evaporated. The fallout wasn't abstract anymore, it was painfully real. Harry and Meghan's children were quietly withdrawn from their elite Brentwood Academy and moved into a more modest Montessori program nearby. Meghan's glamorous wardrobe shifted sharply. No more designer exclusives, just repurposed outfits and understated pieces. Public appearances slowed to a trickle. Her PR team went silent. The shine was gone. Then came a shocking leak from Clarence House. Prince Harry, desperate and disoriented, had reached out to Prince Edward, not as a royal emissary, but as a brother seeking guidance, maybe even rescue. According to sources, Harry sounded lost, unsure of where he stood. Legally, financially, even emotionally. One insider claimed he asked, "Do my children even count as Windsors anymore?" The question hung heavy, echoing through royal corridors like a ghost no one wanted to face. Meanwhile, Meghan resurfaced online with a carefully staged video from their Montecito home. The tone, soft, intimate, poised. The visuals were pristine. Ivory tones, candlelight, a gentle piano score. Speaking slowly, she reflected on truth, resilience, and a woman's voice being erased. But the timing couldn't have been worse. Her video dropped just hours after news of the foreclosure became public. Viewers weren't buying it. Social media exploded, and the hashtag narrative hostage shot to the top of global trends, even US. Talk shows and news outlets, once protective of the Sussex image, started asking tough questions. Was Harry just a supporting character in a scripted memoir? Had his life literally been optioned like a Netflix miniseries? Inside royal circles, the patience finally snapped. Palace officials were done with speculation. And on February 14th, a date thick with irony, Princess Catherine broke her silence for the first time in years regarding the Sussex saga. Her move was subtle, but powerful. She appeared at a children's welfare event in West London. No speech, no references, just calm composure and steady warmth. Cameras captured her quietly comforting children and speaking with families. The contrast was undeniable. While Meghan's narrative was unraveling on screens, Catherine was rebuilding the monarchy's image one genuine smile at a time. Princess Catherine arrived at the children's welfare event in West London wearing a deep navy coat and a delicate rose gold brooch, shaped like a shield, and royal watchers caught the meaning instantly. It wasn't just jewelry, it was a new royal insignia, symbolizing the freshly enacted Windsor Protection Protocol, a royal measure designed to shield royal minors from unauthorized media exposure. When a reporter asked her about the turmoil surrounding the Sussex situation, Catherine didn't hesitate. Her voice was steady, but her words struck deep. Every child deserves a life free from exploitation. The Crown stands ready to protect that right wherever it's challenged. It wasn't just a soundbite, it was a declaration, moral, legal, and institutional, delivered in front of the world. That very evening, something quietly historic unfolded online. The official royal.uk genealogy page was updated without warning. The names Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana disappeared from the official record. In their place appeared a stark single line. Names formerly listed under Sussex designations. Removed by sovereign order, R24/6. No press statement, no ceremony, just deletion. The silence was deafening, and the message unmistakable. The Crown was saying, they are no longer ours to protect, because they've already been sold. Behind palace walls, King Charles, Princess Anne, and Prince William convened in a private emergency session. Their decision was unanimous and resolute. Clause 7 wasn't just manipulative, it was unconstitutional. The monarchy, they agreed, would not let it stand unchallenged. By dawn on February 15, 2026, the Crown's strategy had shifted. What started as internal alarm had evolved into a full-scale institutional counterstrike. The mission wasn't vengeance, it was reclamation. At exactly 7 a.m., the Crown Archives Office triggered a rare and extraordinary emergency procedure known as biometric vaulting. This measure locked down all unreleased royal footage, images, and voice data involving Archie and Lilibet. Every digital trace, from palace portraits to Netflix outtakes, home videos, and unreleased podcast recordings, was secured under encrypted royal authority. Inside the palace, the move was viewed as a protective reclaiming of royal identity, the monarchy drawing a hard line against what it now viewed as the commercial theft of heritage. Outside, the world was stunned. What had begun as a glamorous media partnership had erupted into one of the most dramatic power struggles in modern royal history, a battle over who truly owned the narrative of the British crown. The official explanation for the sweeping digital lockdown was framed under one purpose: to prevent identity exploitation in future AI models, merchandising, or dramatized content. But behind that carefully crafted language, King Charles had activated something far deeper. A hidden clause buried in the Appendix 5 of the Sussex marriage settlement known as contingent custodial jurisdiction. It confirmed what royal insiders had whispered about for years. Neither Archie nor Lilibet had ever been fully entered into the official Windsor genealogical rolls. Missing biometric verification, irregular travel documentation, and incomplete registry filings meant the Crown could not legally recognize them as protected heirs under royal guardianship law. Within hours, the Lord Chamberlain's office issued a formal addendum to the derealization order of February 7th. The language was cold and final. Archibald Harrison and Lilibet Diana shall no longer be associated with privileges, protections, or ceremonial references attached to the British Crown. This action is permanent and enacted in accordance with national interest, ethical integrity, and sovereign legacy protection. With that statement, the royal line was officially severed. The Crown had drawn its boundary, one that was unbreakable. All licensing for commemorative materials featuring the Sussex children, from porcelain, collectibles, and archival prints to children's books and digital assets, was immediately revoked. Trademark enforcement officers contacted U.S. retailers, ordering them to pull all Sussex-branded merchandise referencing royal birth or lineage. Even AI companies were quietly notified. Any data set containing biometric identifiers resembling the children was flagged and placed on a private legal watch list. The message was clear. The Crown had built a digital and legal firewall around its future bloodline. Meanwhile, inside Meghan Markle's Montecito mansion, silence fell like a curtain. Her longtime PR firm, Sunshine Sachs, issued no response. The Archewell website went completely static. No updates, no statements, no spin. The only public action came through a quiet cancellation notice. Meghan withdrew from a scheduled Zoom appearance at a global wellness summit, citing unexpected scheduling conflicts. Inside Buckingham Palace, Princess Anne, Prince William, and Lady. It ended, their verdict was unanimous. It ended, their verdict was unanimous. Clause 7 was no longer just a private legal issue. It had become a national reputational crisis. The monarchy itself was on the line. Princess Anne's final words to the board were sharp, unforgettable, and instantly quoted by royal correspondents. The monarchy cannot allow memory to become a subscription service, and certainly not one priced by someone who has left the institution. That night, as the palace issued its final legal orders, a symbolic sound rippled across London. The bells of Westminster Abbey tolling for evening prayer. Their echoes carried through the winter air, solemn and defiant, as if marking the end of one era and the guarded beginning of another. The crown had drawn its sword, not for war, but for protection, sealing off its past to secure its legacy. And for the first time, even the walls of the abbey seemed to whisper, "The story is no longer for sale." A single stunning decree appeared in the sovereign record, short, formal, and absolute. From that moment forward, any media, literary, or commercial project seeking to use the name, likeness, or personal history of any royal figure, past or present, would have to be reviewed and approved by the Sovereign's Office of Narrative Integrity. Any violation, the decree warned, would trigger formal repudiation and, if needed, legal retaliation. It was the monarchy's final word, and it landed like thunder. Within days, streaming giants scrambled to adjust. Netflix silently stripped the tag "inspired by royal life" from the Harry and Meghan docuseries metadata. Spotify began removing promotional clips that used dramatized reenactments allegedly drawn from Harry's past. The cleanup was quiet but fierce. Digital traces, disappearing by the hour. Then, the revelation that froze the press corps in its tracks. Royal aides confirmed that Prince Harry had relocated to a secure Windsor guest residence, alone. No Meghan. No media presence. No entourage. According to palace insiders, he requested a full briefing on every contract he'd signed since 2020, especially those connected to narrative or intellectual property rights. During a private walk on the Sandringham estate, witnesses say he turned to Lady Louise and whispered, "If I've lost my story, do I still exist in theirs?" Her answer cut through the winter air like a blade. "Not if you don't reclaim it." By February 16th, the monarchy wasn't just defending its legacy anymore, it was rewriting the entire rulebook. At dawn, under a sealed directive from King Charles, a historic new mandate was enacted: the Sovereign Decree of Narrative Reclamation, the first of its kind in modern royal history. The official declaration, endorsed by Princess Anne and Prince William, stated, "Any commercial platform, post-marital arrangement, or private endeavor seeking to capitalize on the name, likeness, or historical experience of HRH Prince Henry, Duke of Sussex, shall be deemed incompatible with crown continuity and void of royal recognition unless reviewed and ratified under sovereign authority." It was a line in the sand, bold, final, and unprecedented. The monarchy rarely issued direct repudiations like this. But Clause 7 had gone beyond scandal. It had become a structural threat to royal sovereignty itself. That night, behind the locked doors of Clarence House, a high-level emergency summit convened. King Charles, Princess Anne, Prince William, and Prince Edward gathered around a confidential dossier labeled Clause 7, Exploitation Risk. Inside were the full audit reports, Meghan's licensing contracts, Netflix and Spotify correspondence, and the legal memos outlining how Clause 7 had turned Harry's personal history into commercial property. As one senior royal advisor put it later, this wasn't just about protecting the monarchy's image anymore. It was about reclaiming the right to one's own life story. And as the candlelight flickered inside Clarence House that evening, the crown made its choice. Quiet, resolute, and absolute. The royal narrative would no longer be a commodity. It would be sovereign property. The secret dossier titled Clause 7, Exploitation Risk, wasn't just a pile of papers. It was a blueprint for institutional containment. Inside were legal timelines detailing Meghan's expanding portfolio of IP and trademark acquisitions, forensic audits mapping Archewell's tangled corporate web, and documentation showing exactly how shared ownership had been quietly dismantled. The evidence was devastating. Internal memos, erased access logs, and communication records proving Harry had been systematically cut out of operational and financial decisions since 2021. Also enclosed was a detailed analysis of Sunshine Sachs's crisis management strategy, a notorious playbook built around victim framing and narrative control. It showed how public sympathy could be engineered through emotional storytelling and timed vulnerability. When the royal committee finished reading, Princess Anne broke the silence. Her tone was razor sharp. "This isn't just a family betrayal," she declared. "It's a breach of national dignity. The institution cannot allow its story to be rented, miscast, or mass-produced. Prince William leaned forward, his voice equally unflinching. "She doesn't just control the edit," he said. "She controls the silence, and that ends today." The final turning point came from Palace Legal Counsel. Their latest internal findings revealed something even more alarming. Meghan's exclusive editorial clause didn't stop with past events. It extended into the future, giving her authority over any portrayal of Harry's reflections on royal traditions, family grief, or public duty. Even fictionalized works inspired by his royal lineage could be legally challenged. At 11 p.m., a new countermeasure was drafted, a bold counter clause. This document, prepared in secrecy, was designed to nullify Clause 7 entirely by asserting sovereign override over any content derived from royal experience or institutional service. The monarchy wasn't just protecting itself anymore, it was reclaiming its own story, and by extension, Harry's. The next morning, February 17th, came the public signal. The official royal.uk media site was quietly updated with a new policy. From that day forward, all Sussex-originated content referencing royal traditions, residences, or family history would carry a disclaimer, unaffiliated with the crown. Commercial use, unauthorized. Moments later, a sweeping declaration followed, the notice of institutional narrative ownership. It asserted the monarchy's exclusive rights over its ceremonial history, insignias, and any personal narratives rooted in royal service. It was a direct strike at Meghan's legal foothold, and it landed hard. The global press lit up overnight. The New York Times headline read, "The monarchy rewrites the script. Harry no longer owns his story, but neither does Meghan." Even streaming platforms scrambled. Netflix executives reportedly held emergency meetings to review contractual risks, worried that their royal-inspired content now fell into legal limbo. Several projects in early development were immediately paused. For the first time since the modern monarchy entered the digital age, the institution had fought back with equal precision and force. The crown had made its stance unmistakable. The royal story, in all its pain, triumph, and legacy, belonged only to the monarchy itself. By February 17th, the digital cleanup was complete. The royal reset had gone global. The description for the Harry and Meghan Netflix series was quietly changed to read based on independently submitted materials. All internal tags linking the show to official crown affiliation were scrubbed clean. On Spotify, Archetypes was suspended from republication, and all related promo clips vanished from the platform. Over on Amazon, a scheduled pre-release memoir titled The Spare's Crown, rumored to be Meghan's ghost-written companion book to her next docu-series, was abruptly delisted. It was a total media blackout, silent, surgical, and absolute. No statements, no social media posts, nothing from Meghan's camp. California sources confirmed that several of her staff were quietly reassigned to undisclosed projects, and her powerhouse PR firm, Sunshine Sachs, refused to comment. But inside Buckingham Palace, momentum was shifting. Prince Harry, now living temporarily within a secure Windsor residence, was receiving regular updates from a discreet team of legal reformers, the same task force spearheaded by Lady Louise Windsor. Those close to him said his demeanor had transformed, calm, measured, and strangely unburdened. During a debrief on February 18th, he reportedly told Princess Anne, "I signed to protect her, but I never thought I'd have to protect myself from what I signed." Anne, as direct as ever, replied with quiet fire, "Then let this be the chapter where you take your name back." At exactly 5:30 p.m. that day, history shifted. A brand new page appeared on the official royal family website, bold, brief, and final. It read, "The Crown does not recognize any personal contract that attempts to silence royal lineage. The Windsor legacy shall not be licensed. It shall be lived." Within minutes, the world reacted. The Guardian hailed it as the most elegant institutional clapback in modern royal memory. Sky News launched a breaking special titled, "From Silence to Sovereignty, Harry's Narrative Returns." Social media exploded with hashtags. Hashtag Clause 7 voided, hashtag Take Back the Story, hashtag Windsor Firewall. But then came the image that froze the internet. A photograph that closed the chapter with grace and symbolism. No press statement could match. On the morning of February 18th, Princess Catherine was seen standing on the steps of a children's advocacy center. Beside her stood Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Lilibet. The little girl, shy and tightly holding Catherine's hand, wore a navy blue coat and a matching headband. Behind them, photographers were allowed just one shot. Wide frame, no questions, no press call. Hours later, the palace posted the image online with a single caption: "A story doesn't belong to those who write it. It belongs to those who live it." That was it. The end of the battle for narrative control. The monarchy had made its final move, not with scandal or spectacle, but with sovereignty. Prince Harry was no longer a prisoner to contracts or controlled scripts. His silence had turned into strength. The Windsor firewall had held. And Meghan, she might still hold the pen, but the page was no longer hers to print. What do you think of the Crown's counter-move? Should Harry reclaim his story entirely? Or is this the end of the royal narrative war? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this breakdown if you were hooked till the end. Subscribe for the next explosive chapter. Because this royal saga, it's far from over.